But one thing that you can do is, of course, get a new layer. And for big areas, if it's all pretty much the same color gray, you can use the magic wand tool and it will select the area. So click on that, click on the area you want to select. Now here we can see that it cuts off right there where the tree is. What you can do is you can hold the shift key and click more of what you know is the sky to select that area. Then pick out your color for sky, a nice sky color. Of course, change it to color mode. Go down to paint bucket and it paint buckets it. Now that's a very, very light blue because it's supposed to be. If you want sort of a normal sky color, you might have to go for a pretty darker, much darker color. It's still going to be pretty pale because it was essentially white. I'm going to try to do the exact same technique with these trees here because this is also a really complex area, but it's all pretty much the same gray. So I'm going to get a new layer, change to color mode. I've got my magic eraser or my magic wand selected, and that selects all of those branches. And I held the shift key and it select all those branches there. Keeping that shift key held, which is nice because it's a pretty complex shape there that would take a long time to color in. Oh, that was actually a window. So I can do Control Z for that because I don't want to color in the window green. All right. So I've got all these trees selected now because they were all pretty much the same color green or gray. And that's fantastic. Now I can do two different things. I could take a green. I'd want it to be a different color green than my tank, maybe a very light green. And I could take my paint bucket and I can fill all that in, all green at once, which is delightful and quick. Or what I could do is I could take my paintbrush and I could make this a fall themed. Maybe this happened in the fall. I don't know. And I can add fall leaves to this, some reds and yellows and oranges to the leaves instead, which would be a nice contrast to my tank. So if I wanted to paint in while these are all selected, I can paint in all of that instead. And then when I zoom out, you get a pretty good idea of what that's going to look like. I think we're going to go with a less dramatic color than that red there. Maybe I just want a little bit of red. And what I can actually do is I can change the opacity of my paintbrush. This is getting a little advanced. There we go. That's kind of what I want right there. That's exactly what I want. Okay. Then Control D to deselect or that. And that's what that looks like. So I can do the same thing here with my windows. Right? All my windows should be sky blue. So I can select that. Nope, see, it's too close. It's the window grays are just too close and it's kind of selecting the whole thing. So that I might have to color in by hand, more by hand. Also looks like it kind of colored my building a little bit there. So for my building, I'd get a new layer and I would start to color in my building color. The buildings in Paris are all made out of limestone, and that is kind of a yellowish brown. Actually, that's pretty much the color right there. And so, oops, I would want to start coloring that in. Oops, I'm coloring in normal mode. Make sure it's color. Make sure the opacity is all the way. Okay. And start coloring the building. So the point is that the magic wand can work sometimes, but certainly not all the time. Okay, you are going to have to use it for some things. Now, check this out. I am coloring my building over that tree there, and it's actually recoloring the tree. But what I could do is I can bring that layer down or my tree up, bring that tree up over my building, and now it's back on top. So again, you can adjust the layers there to help you out so that, especially when you've got things that are tight behind each other, it's just a little easier to color that way. So if I was on my building layer, again, go back to my building layer, and I wanted to color this whole building back here, and I didn't want it to take forever. I just know there's a building back there, right? And, you know, I can even kind of color a little bit over my tank even. This is all the building here. And I'm coloring over, and it's coloring over some of my tree. It's coloring over my tank. But you can see it's actually not coloring over a lot of my tree because my tree layer is on top. But it did color over my tank. Uh-oh. But that's okay because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this layer all the way to the bottom. And now my tank is on top. So you don't see that limestone color messing it up. Same with the guys. I can color just straight over that, but it doesn't mess up the guys at all because it is behind that. All right, and there it is, pretty much all colored in, and that is several ways that you can color in your historical photo.